Hello Gemini, welcome to your monthly tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is for the month of March 2023. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything that you need me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments down below. This is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with these cards. Use your own intuition to, take you beyond just the details that I'm providing. Okay. And remember that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. Look at that, a 9 of Cups. That is a beautiful way to begin any month. Okay, so I think March is definitely going to be about, and we've got the 2 of Cups. So starting off with some good water energy already, I feel like this is going to be the month where you make some really important changes and improvements about your happiness, about your meaning and your purpose in life. Right? It's almost like you really do find true love this month. It could take any form. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a romantic thing. It could be finding that one thing that you truly love in your life and pursuing that, your ultimate, your highest goal. You know what I mean? We're going to do our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card before we forget. And let's see, pick one right there. We're not going to look at that until the very end of the reading, so you do have to stick around until the end. And hopefully that will, tie the reading together and give us the confirmation that we're looking for at the very end of things. Okay. So just glancing around here, we have some major arcana. We've got some water, some earth, some fire. So that's pretty good. On the path of the serpent, we have some major arcana. We've got some fire, earth, and air. So it seems like a pretty good balance of cards this month, okay? So like I said, with the 9 of Cups here, I really feel like you are the type of person who has their happiness truly in mind. I think that you're on the path to really reaching your ultimate goals. I think that you have kind of an idea of what happiness looks like to you. I feel like this month it's really about you, right? And not in a selfish way, because I think you're also very generous, very giving, very loving, very affectionate, very expressive with your love, But I think this month you're really going to be making progress in terms of your own happiness, your own future, okay? I feel that there is a focus now on kind of a holistic life for you, right? I think physically, with the kind of the bottom 3 cups here, physically, you're focused on health and well-being and wellness, okay? Physical fitness. I think emotionally, you are focused on healing past trauma, maybe resolving some issues from your past, really kind of accepting and integrating and processing any kind of lingering issues that you may have emotionally, right? And I think intellectually also you are engaged in some pursuits related to mental health, but also education and improvement and knowledge and a real seeking of wisdom, okay? Understanding, perhaps, more so than wisdom. And so that leads to a spiritual fulfillment. You're on a real spiritual quest, even though you may not look at it that way. You kind of seem like the person, to me at least, that isn't overly concerned about, the air quotes, spiritual things. I feel like you're a very practical person. You're a very, not practical as in superficial or that you only care about the physical, but I think you are practical in the sense that any kind of spiritual work that you do has to have a physical, mental, emotional component to it, right? It's no good to have these, religious experiences or spiritual moments if it doesn't kind of trickle down to our daily lives and influence how we feel and how we behave on the physical plane, right? And in terms of our emotions and our seeking of knowledge and understanding. So you're practical in that kind of sense. you know. I think that you are a spontaneous person. I think that you get a feeling, you get some inspiration or some motivation, and you love to pursue it. You love to experiment. You love to go on these adventures. You love to see what is behind all of the doors, right? It's hard for you to just pick door number one and say, okay, that's my door. I think you'll go to door number one, but then you'll also sneak off and check out door number 2 and 3 and 4. And, you know, I think you really have that kind of curiosity. And it is a fascination with life, I think. I think that you are someone who is very much affected by the way other people feel and the way other people make you feel, the exchange of that emotional energy. I think you're very sensitive to that. Okay. I think that you sometimes put yourself last, you know, or maybe not last, but maybe second or third, you know. I feel like sometimes you get into that mode where you feel so much love and joy that you want to give that to other people, and you don't maybe sometimes you don't really give enough of that to yourself, right? So you're a very generous person, and I think you're very affectionate, you're very giving. You want other people to feel good, you want other people to be happy, right? The key word for the 9 of Cups is happiness. So it's not just your own happiness, this is everyone around you. You want them all to be happy. Okay. And I think sometimes this takes the focus off of yourself, and you maybe tend to not consider your happiness all of the time. Okay. So I do think that there was some situation of that nature recently. In the recent past, we've got this Justice or Adjustment card. I think you're just closing off a situation. You're just now you're wrapping up something. I think you were in a situation where maybe you put the needs of someone else before your own, and it kind of backfired a little bit. Okay. It might not have really worked out. They may not have appreciated it. They may not have recognized it, or they may not just really have cared, you know? With the Adjustment or Adjustment card here, I kind of think there's an L name involved in this situation. I feel like it's almost a professional relationship. Maybe this is something to do in the workplace. It could be that you were putting in so much effort, so much commitment and devotion to this work relationship. It could be a romantic thing, could be a family member, could be a friendship, but it feels like maybe it's a work thing. You put so much devotion, so much of yourself. You put the needs of others before your own. You put the happiness of the company, let's say, or of the other person before your own. And it didn't quite work out as you thought it would. It kind of backfired, kind of bit you in the butt a little bit. You know, you were maybe you were taken for granted, right? I think that's kind of what it is here, that you were expecting something from all of that devotion, all of the giving that you've done. You were expecting at least a little something, right? Because that's kind of what the Justice or Adjustment card here is about, is the results of our actions, you know? I think you were expecting a particular type of result, some kind of result. But what you got in return was a complete shock, really. It feels like you put in, you know, the extra hours, the devotion, the commitment, the blood, sweat, and tears. You just gave and gave and gave, putting your own happiness perhaps second or third place. And it was completely ignored, taken for granted, and just not reciprocated, not appreciated even. And it was almost like it wasn't even really acknowledged, you know. But I feel like this is done. I feel like this is the past. You're out of this situation, okay? I feel like you have gotten out of this. Either you broke off the relationship, you left the company, you don't talk to those friends anymore, you don't talk to those family members as much anymore. I feel like you've distanced yourself from this situation, okay? Whatever it might be, if it's professional or if it's personal. I do think it's more professional than personal. But we see a lot of mixture of this earth energy with this water energy. So it's almost like it was perhaps a work situation, a professional setting, an employment relationship or something. But I feel like it became very personal, right? I think that you've invested so much of yourself in there to this relationship. You know, if it's a professional thing or business, or even if it's a friendship or if it's a romantic thing, it became very personal for you because you put so much of your own heart and soul into it. Okay. And I think that's why we see the blending of the water and the earth here. Because yes, it may be a professional or employment situation, a business situation, but it became very personal. Okay. But the good news is that this adjustment or justice card is in the past. Okay. So I feel like you've kind of gotten out from underneath that, right? And that makes me happy. So I think that is kind of, that might be the transition that you're in now as we move into March. What you're just kind of getting out of. This could be still something that you're in the process of stepping away from. Okay? It's in the recent past. I don't know how recent or how distant. Could be a few days, could be a few months, could be that this is literally happening like right now as we speak. Okay. Down beneath everything, we see this lovely Five of Wands. Now, I'm happy that we have this kind of fiery energy down here, especially beneath the surface, because this is telling me that despite the surface of the water, right, despite this happiness, this cheerful, optimistic, this very trusting attitude that we see with the Nine of Cups, underneath it all, you still have a very strong fighting spirit. You know, I think if this Five of Wands wasn't here at the bottom of the path of the dove, I think this past situation with this Justice card, which again I think is an L name, if it wasn't for this Five of Wands, you'd still be in that situation, right? Because this is deeper within your being. This is your sense of almost your sense of justice in the way that this card should be representing justice, right? But I think this was the relationship that was the unfair relationship, really. This is the justice. This is the active, very adamant, very strong-willed and resolute energy that we would typically find in the adjustment card, right? This is the justice. It's cruel maybe, but it's fair, right? Because you were treated unfairly in that situation. And this is the kind of the long arm of the law that is going to correct the situation. So this is your motivation to get out of that. You know, this is your real fighting spirit. And I think that when it really comes down to it, you will stand up for yourself and defend yourself at all costs. No one should be fooled by all of this kind of surface water energy, this Nine of Cups, this cheerfulness, this kind of happy-go-lucky, very generous, very giving, very affectionate persona or energy, this vibe that you give off, right? Because underneath it all is that Five of Wands. So people better stay on your good side, so to speak, right? But it's not that you can turn on a dime and suddenly be cruel or mean to people. No, it's when you feel that you've been taken advantage of, when you feel that this Nine of Cups energy that you're giving off or that you have about you is not appreciated or recognized, or if it's used against you, you go into immediate Five of Wands mode. Okay. Immediate defensive posture, ready to fight, ready to stand up for yourself at all costs. Okay. So it is, you're very giving, very generous, very loving, very accepting, very nice, very kind, all of these things, until someone takes advantage of that. You know. And then it's Five of Wands mode. What we see happening during the month is this Two of Cups. Now, this is very interesting because we also have in the immediate future this Lover's card, which is the patron card for Gemini. This is your card, right? This is the card that represents you. So I think this really is a important month for you. I think great things are happening. And I think what this card is talking about is a new connection. Okay? A new connection because you've escaped this old connection. Okay, you've gotten out of this. And even though you were in that past situation with that possibly L-named person or company, with that Justice card, you never really gave up your Nine of Cups. You still had a positive attitude. You still had a positive outlook on things. And so this month, I think you're making a new connection now. And this could be a romantic connection. It could be a business connection. It could be with an employer. But it's a new connection. So it's not that you're going back to this old one. You're doing something new. Okay? Coming together in a relationship that is going to appreciate you, recognize you, resonate with you. Big time with the Two of Cups. There's a lot of harmony here. It's going to be a kind of soulmate level connection. Even if this is professional, business related, even if this is a friendship or a romance, indeed, it's going to have that spiritual connection, that deep emotional recognition of each other, the reciprocating affection and love and nurturing and care and concern. It's going to be very generous, very affectionate, right? So think about this in terms of an employment situation. That's pretty good news. If it's in a romantic relationship, well, obviously, I think that's what we're all kind of looking for, right? And even if this is a friendship or, a family relationship, this is still the most beautiful and successful, the most balanced and harmonious relationship that we could ask for. Now, this is really good news. Now, before we get to the immediate future with that Lover's card, we need to talk about the Ace of Discs or Pentacles up here at the top. I think that you may find a lot of synchronicity happens in your life. I think when you are getting ready for this connection, when this is about to happen, I'm getting a feeling like there's going to be a pretty strong synchronicity there. Okay, I'm almost getting the feeling like something falls, something maybe made out of glass or something fragile. Something falls, but it doesn't break, right? And I think we know what that feeling is like, right? Something's falling, we think, oh man, we're screwed, but it doesn't break, and we feel that relief, we feel that just joy, right? It's just the greatest moment ever that thing didn't break. Right? So it's something valuable, something fragile that falls, maybe from a higher shelf or from a bookshelf or something. I don't know if you have some kind of a fragile glass, could be a picture frame, could be a vase, a sculpture, or, something like that. A mirror perhaps, but not a hanging mirror. It's on a shelf or something. I feel like it falls and it doesn't break, and that gives you that tremendous relief. And I think that's going to be kind of a random event, right? It doesn't mean much by itself. But I think it's going to correspond in some way with the meeting of this new person, of making this new connection. Okay. It could be, I don't even know. It could be that your phone rings at the exact moment that this fall happens, or, something like that, it doesn't seem meaningful at all to me. But when it happens, you're going to understand the meaning of it, okay? So something falls, something doesn't break. And that, I think, is a metaphor for kind of the situation that we're in now. It feels like there is a stumbling. It feels like there's a disaster, like it's something terrible. This situation that you were in, it feels like a setback. It feels like something is falling. But you know what? When you land, you're not going to break. Okay? And in fact, that's going to be probably the most joy that you can feel in that moment, is the fact that, wow, I fell, I didn't break. Nothing bad happened. In fact, it's opened up an opportunity now for even better things to happen. So it's kind of meaningless in itself, and I know it sounds silly, but I think it's going to be meaningful at the time. Okay. And the Ace of Discs, of course, is representing that new situation. It's that new relationship, the new connection, the new employment opportunity. It's really the physical coming together of things. And I think that's kind of also talking about the spontaneity that you enjoy, right? We mentioned that at the beginning. I think you're someone who likes to see what's behind not just door number 1, but all of the doors. You just have that intense curiosity about, I wonder if this mystery card is going to be the Fool energy. I wonder if that's going to be the Fool card. Because I feel a tremendous spontaneity with you, but it's just it's in a practical way. It's like you love to kind of start projects. It's almost like, I feel like you have a lot of different projects going at once. You know what I mean? Like in the physical realm, like maybe a lot of creative projects. Like you're the type of person that maybe will read 5 books at once, and every day you make a little progress in each one because you can't narrow it down really. And I think that's also, like I said, that about the 9 of Cups. That's just part of your aura, part of your energy, But now for this immediate future, this Lover's card, the Patron Gemini card, this is representing you really choosing this commitment, this new opportunity, this new relationship. I think is going to feel so intensely just perfect for you, This card has so many, different meanings that it really it would confuse the entire reading if we were to try to pinpoint what this event actually is. But in the immediate future, when you experience this new connection, I think it is going to feel like it is the perfect, ideal situation for you, right? And because this is your patron card, it truly is the most ideal situation for you right now, okay? So this is you really making the choice to accept this, and I don't think that's really even an issue. I don't think it's anything we're concerned about because of the nature of the cards, the fact that we still have this 9 of Cups back here with the 2 of Cups, and then going right into this kind of perfect situation. This is the ideal situation for you. Okay, so this card doesn't really need to say much. Just the fact that it's here is showing what a tremendous opportunity this is going to be and how successful and how this is going to feel for you, right? This is going to feel it's going to feel right. You're going to get that feeling in your gut that this is just where you're supposed to be, I think this is the union of the two parties, you and whoever, whatever is in this 2 of Cups with you, right? Whatever this relationship is. I think that the Lover's card here is showing me that if there is even a choice involved, you're not even going to have to think about it. The choice will be obvious. It'll be something that you feel you want to commit to. The same way I think you committed to this last one, maybe this L name, this justice or adjustment situation. You're going to want to give your all and be generous and loving and giving, right? But there's going to be a difference with this one. I think in the past, maybe there was something missing from that, right? From this past situation, it feels like it was, even if it was a romantic thing, it felt like it was more professional, like it was missing that spark, that chemistry or something, right? I think that's here in this next one. And whatever is coming in the future, in this month, it's going to have that little something extra. Okay? It's going to have that little something extra that I think, in retrospect, that it was missing from that last one. Right? And that's going to be the difference. That's going to be that little something extra. We're going to move over to the path of the Serpent now. And again, if there's anything that you need me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments, okay? And also, I do want to say that these cards are always correct. We never pull an incorrect tarot card, okay? The cards are never wrong. But as the interpreter, I might not always know how to associate each of these cards directly to your life. So that's why I ask you to try to connect directly with the images and energies yourself. Use your own intuition. Okay. All right. The first card, General Energy, Ace of Wands. This is that little something extra. This is that spark or that chemistry that I think you're going to be feeling. And this is really, I think, what you have been missing from, at least from this recent past relationship. Okay. Again, could be personal, professional, could be romantic, could be platonic. Either way. But you're going to feel this spark now. This is like the butterflies in the stomach, but more than that, this is almost like that feeling of certainty. That feeling like this has some kind of direct meaning for you, some direct kind of like inspiration, you know? That's going to take you deeper within yourself to really understand what it is that you've been wanting in your life, or what it is that you've been missing, really, you know? Because I think you have all of this water energy. You're very, very giving. You're very, you feel things. You have a sensitivity to things. But all of that water could put you at a disadvantage, right? The water is very passive. It's very yielding. It will sink down and just try to adapt to whatever container it's in. It needs a little bit of fire. Right? This is a little flame underneath the pot that's just going to get that water moving and boiling, and just to get it, to wake it up, right? To make it active again. And I think you're really going to feel this spark in this Lover's card energy in the immediate future with this connection that's coming, this new connection. And I think it's going to have that little something extra. That little something extra. And it could really be inspiring you to new paths in life, new opportunities, new aces of pentacles, right? New doors to go and check out, new things, new projects to begin. It really could be that inspiration that you need to really to keep this thing going, and now with this new relationship. Again, personal, it could be romantic, could be platonic, could be professional. However it goes, it's going to have that spark, that something extra, to inspire you to do even more with your life, with the path that you're on, and all of the various projects. Because again, I think you're someone that has that kind of spontaneity. You love starting projects, right? And especially with an Ace of Wands, that's the inspiration to start something new. It's that excitement that we feel when we, let's say we open that brand new book. But then comes the tedium of reading through, the few hundred pages, even through the boring parts and whatever. But that's the fire that keeps you going. And I think that's the fire that's really going to motivate you to do even more and to follow through with something now. Because with all of this water energy, I feel again as if you adapt to the other person more. You adapt to the other situation. You try to fit in with them rather than having your own light, your own fire, your own kind of ambition to lead you, to guide you to your ultimate goals, right? So it's almost like you kind of take on the other person's or the other entity, the company or employer or whatever. You kind of take on their goals, their motivations a little bit. Right? Maybe you have kind of some diffuse ego boundaries a little bit, You kind of mold into their life rather than keeping this flame bright within you and keeping on your own path, right? And I think this is coming. Like I said, this is going to be that something extra that you're going to feel in this new situation. And, even if this new situation doesn't end up working out, I think this Ace of Wands is sticking around, right? This is that fire that does not go out. You can't extinguish this flame once it's there, And I think you're kindling this flame. And I think that this is going to give you the spiritual insight, the knowledge, the understanding, the wisdom to see things for what they really are. This is the torch that you're going to carry into every situation, and you're not going to be taken advantage of. You're not going to kind of mold yourself into someone else's life. You know what I mean? It's either going to be this kind of ideal partnership, this equal and balanced unity, or you're going to take your torch and you're going to continue on, you know. But what we see in the environment, 4 of discs, interesting. I think this is some safety, security, stability. This is the well-established foundation that I think you've built for yourself. I think, like we said before with the 9 of Cups, I think you're very much focused on your physical well-being, your mental, your emotional well-being. I think the 4 is talking about the real stability of that. Okay? I think that you've reached a certain point physically in your health, your wellness, your diet and exercise. I think that you're in a good place mentally and emotionally. And we really are ready for this spark, for this lamp, right? To turn this 4 into a 5. You've done all the preparation. You've got your foundation built. Now it's just time to light the lamps in this dark castle, right? I think this is, in general, your very stable environment, you know? I think this is your very reliable set of friends, your family, maybe your home, your domestic situation, maybe your financial situation is pretty well established and pretty solid. Pretty solid, okay? So this is telling me that you really don't need anyone else, right? You maybe don't even need, if this is an employer, you maybe don't even really need them. You know, I think you have a nice, solid foundation now. But we need this lamp to light this castle up, to give you purpose and direction and meaning and this ambition, right? Because it's easy, when we have a solid foundation like this, it's easy to just stay home and not want to do anything. You know, and it's kind of isolating. So we want really to either turn that 4 into a 5 of discs, but I think using that ace to turn this into a 5 to really have spirit kind of leading us. You know, let spirit light the way. And I think you're going to be continuing from this place of stability and security in your environment again. I think your financial situation, your friends, your family, your health, I think everything is pretty solid. And that's a good kind of home base to have, right? That we can always come back to after we've returned from these adventures. I still think Fool energy over here. The next card that we see is some air energy. This is the 8 of Swords. I think that you do have a tendency to overthink things, especially in a situation like we've just gotten out of with this possible L person, the Justice or Adjustment card. This past relationship, I think that I think in some ways your worry or your concern is that you haven't learned your lesson, you know? And especially when this new situation starts to happen, maybe you're going to have some second thoughts because you're going to just say, well, look, this is a little too similar to what I just got out of. You know, this is the concern or the worry that maybe you didn't learn your lesson the first time, right? And I think that's why it's very important to be open and receptive to this Lover's card and to this Ace of Wands. You'll feel it. You'll know. If you can turn off your thoughts for just a brief moment and just listen to the silence kind of like within you, you know, I think you'll hear the message if this is the right thing for you. You know, you'll feel that something extra. And you'll know that this is not the same as the past relationship, that this is something different, right? But the idea here, and I should point out, there's no guarantee that this is the right thing. There's no guarantee that this is something that's absolutely wonderful and perfect. No one can say that 100%, right? If any tarot reader tells you 100% certain that's going to happen, they're, I think, misleading you, okay? Because no one knows that. There's so many variables. But the idea is to open ourselves up, at least be quiet enough inside that we can listen to hear, or we can be receptive to that feeling to know whether or not this is something worth pursuing, right? But if we're constantly in our heads, if we're doing this overthinking, we're doing this Eight of Swords thing, which is just our mind like doing a figure eight, just looping back in on itself with these thoughts, these doubts, these potentials, these what ifs, right? Then we're not able to hear that spirit, that inspiration, that voice from ourselves, our conscience, our soul, our intuition, whatever you want to call it. There's too much noise going on. And this, again, is that noise of, okay, this is the same situation again. I didn't learn my lesson. This is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm going to do this again, you know. And maybe it's going to turn out, maybe it's going to be a disaster. I don't know. But you're limiting yourself if you are kind of refusing to even quiet down and listen. See if you get that kind of feeling that we're talking about, that spark, that chemistry, that something extra this time around, right? I think the cards are indicating that it's probably a pretty good chance this is going to be a great thing, right? But it's not going to matter if you're not open and receptive to hearing that, or to listening to yourself, you know, to hear that from within. Then it doesn't matter what the potential is. It doesn't matter what the odds are. You have to be willing to listen and to trust yourself, really. Trust your true self, your higher self. The next card on the path of the Serpent is the World or Universe card. This is showing a couple of things. On the one hand, it's showing a little bit of a Saturn influence coming from this Eight of Swords, right? The Eight of Swords, I think, is putting us in the direction of inaction, right? It's kind of leading us toward stagnation, inertia, really not doing anything. We're kind of stuck. We're kind of locked in this prison of thoughts and doubts and questioning, and, you know, we're not really getting anywhere. And that's the restrictive nature of Saturn, right? Saturn keeping you still, keeping you stuck right here, right now. Sometimes that's a good thing, you know? If you were in a perfect situation now, you would want Saturn in there to kind of keep you on your path, right? To keep you honest, to keep you committed. That discipline to stick with it. We don't want to stick with this Eight of Swords, though, right? The good news about this World or Universe card is that it's not just Saturn. It also has a very earthy influence on it, right? So this is telling me that there is a way to put all of this into practical action, to put it into motion, to get things going, to start this dance in the physical world, right? Get out of our head and get to the plane, get to the realm of action. And that is kind of related to that physical event that I talked about, that something fragile falling from a shelf but not breaking, right? That's movement through space and time. That's also connected with this cups, this water energy, okay? It could be literally like a teapot or something, or some kind of maybe I'm thinking a vase, right? Something that maybe holds water that falls. Maybe the water gets spilled, sure, but the object doesn't break. Okay. And that to me is a lot of this earth energy with this universe or world card. Something to bring you out of your head, snap you back to reality, right? Put you back in your physical body. Maybe when you come back to your physical body, you'll feel the tingling in your fingertips, right? The hair on the back of your neck, a little goosebumps, a little shiver, right? It kind of pulls you back. It takes you from wherever your mind goes, snaps you back into your body, right? And I think in that moment, you can trust yourself. You can listen. You can feel. You can see if that little something extra is here, right? That chemistry, that spark, that vibration, that intuition, right? So I think a lot of the energy this month is about you opening up to it, right? Allowing yourself to receive that, you know. And it's different than the cup energy, because the cups, again, are very yielding, right? Very receptive. But the cups, you know, like water, kind of reflects the surface, reflects whatever light is being put upon it, you know. So that's kind of you, like, not really searching down into the depths of the water for you and who you really are. But it's more on the surface. It's more adapting to the circumstances, reflecting the environment around us, you know. It's giving back to the environment what we think the environment needs or requires of us, even, you know. Let's look at the mystery card. I'm still thinking Fool energy. I'm just getting that kind of vibe from you. But now I almost think something a little bit more contained, a little bit more earthy. Maybe a Six of Pentacles or something. Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is a great confirmation. This is showing more about this movement than even this ace did. Okay, if this ace is the object, the Two of Pentacles is that object falling. Okay, it is that movement. It is that kind of snapping back to the physical reality, kind of waking up and being here now in the moment, aware of ourselves, aware of our physical environment and the sensations. And in that moment, to listen to our inner voice, listen to the conscience, the intuition, the spirit, whatever you call it. So the two of Pentacles is showing movement out of this kind of frozen kind of stagnation that we see if we can get too far into our heads about it, right? If we have too many questions, too much doubt, too much analysis, this overthinking locks us in place, keeps us stuck. And that is kind of where then this object is not moving through space and time, it's frozen, right? But then we've got that too. And this is allowing, it's almost like we've frozen time, you know, and now you snap your fingers, things are in motion again. Time continues on, right? You've seen that in movies all the time. So it's going from that kind of frozen, paused state to now the motion. And again, I think that object falling but not breaking is going to be very meaningful for you. And it may be simply just a reminder for you to come back to your body, get out of your head, and really listen to your heart. Okay? We're going to do a little bit of an extended. If you want to stick around, click on the link that's right here. Then you can have access to all of the extended readings for all of the weekly and monthly videos that we do. Okay? This was your monthly reading for March 2023 here on Dove and Serpent Tarot.